Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Offstage Podcast. Today we have a two-parter episode. It's going to be a really cool experiment that we're kind of trying out this couple of weeks. So, as you may notice, I am here alone by myself today. Vanessa is actually on the road. She is currently touring the U.S. with the band Cleopatrick, who she manages. Fret not. We actually decided to kind of take that as an opportunity to take the show on the road. So most of this episode is dedicated to a very special interview she did with the guys from Cleopatrick while in the States, in Philly, I believe so. Yeah, in Philly. And it's a pretty interesting interview. It talks about preparing for your tour, how you should do that. Talks mostly focused on paperwork and whatnot, and also some of the experiences through touring. A really crazy story about human trafficking. It's a pretty cool interview. Check it out for sure. That's coming up shortly. Before we transition into that, I just want to do a little bit of housekeeping. First of all, as always, thank you everyone for the support on the show. It's been kind of crazy. Really good support so far. Everyone that's listening to the show has had nothing but good things to say about the show. So we're pretty stoked about that. Just remember that we are on all social media. We are at the Offstage on Twitter, Instagram, and also Facebook. So make sure to do that. Oral episodes are available everywhere. And by that, I mean Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. We have a YouTube channel if you want to just listen to that while you're at work. We're available everywhere. So this is a two-parter episode, mostly because we're dedicating it to the interview this time, and once Vanessa is back from the States, we're gonna have your usual typical Offstage Podcast episode where we're gonna talk about even more about touring, kind of reconvene here and go more in depth about touring and what it how you should prepare, good ideas and everything, and kind of just flesh it out even more, and also talk about some of the stuff from the interview as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it what we're doing with this week. Without further ado, I'm going to take you with the magic of podcasting. I'm going to take you all the way to Philly, United States of America, where it's going to take it from here and interview Cleopatrick. If you don't know Cleopatrick, quick bio. They're an up-and-coming band from Cobourg, Ontario. Their latest hit single, Hometown, was placed on all the top Spotify playlists in the world, including Rock This, and it has over 2.5 million plays on Spotify at this point. The guys are killing it. They're playing at Lollapalooza. They're opening some shows for Highly Suspect. They're killing it. And right now they're going through the States for a string of shows. So that's where we're catching them in this interview. All right, without further ado, here's our interview with Cleopatrick.
Hey, what's up? Vanessa here, reporting remotely for the Offstage. I'm in Philadelphia with Luke and Ian of Cleopatrick. How's it going, guys?
Amazing.
So, you guys are on tour. This is day 2 of your first American tour. So, how's it going?
It's great. It's been the best. Nothing but smooth sailing so far. Yeah.
Cool. So let's start from the beginning. The Offstage likes to give advice and insights to independent artists. So what can you tell us about your experience? As we know, crossing the border into the States, it can be a bit of a pain in the ass. Mm-hmm. So every band does have a different experience, but in terms of the whole process, what you should have, what you don't need to have, how did you find that it went? How did you prepare for it?
As far as preparation, I guess we and our management got a lot of things together for us, but from what I understand, a lot of it came from the AFM, which is the American Federation of Musicians, which is connected with CFM, which is the Canadian version, and you become like a member of that in order to get a P2 work visa. And then once you're a member of those like community or federations, then they like give you kind of like a list of like everything that you need to know and everything that you need to have to cross. So that was where I think like a lot of the important list of things came from. And so from there we just kind of like all worked together to get everything in order and make sure that we weren't going to be missing anything crucial when it came time.
So in terms of what those things were, so obviously you had your visas
Yes.
that you got when you filled out your applications after joining the AFM. What else did you need to have with you?
We had a gear manifest. We had a list of everything that we were bringing over. We had to label all that.
Serial numbers.
Serial numbers and everything, like really, so they know what you're bringing.
We also had a merchandise manifest for the shirts and hoodies that we were bringing to sell. And we also, like with merch, we weren't able to bring, was it over $2,500 or something worth of merch? So we had to like keep a relatively small stock. So we had like a list of that, what the value is, like who they're made by and stuff like that.
Also an itinerary. They want to know where you're going.
Yeah, so we had to have an itinerary from our agent that booked the tour, as well as like our management and like what we're going to be doing from day to day. We had to have show contracts for each show that we're playing, signed by us and by the promoter or like the venue, to prove that we were going to be playing shows. And that also went with the itinerary. We need to have the address of the venues, the address of where we're staying. That was like one of the only things that they asked us when we actually crossed was where we were going to be staying on our first night. We had to give them the address.
Oh, wow. Like the address of the Airbnb that you were staying at?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And that was like the main thing, the main like piece of information that they asked us for, which was kind of weird, but yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that's good to know. So what happened when you got to the border? What's the process like?
So we crossed at night, or late at night, so that was like kind of smoothed things out. It was us and like 2 other cars. We also have like a crazy story that we'll tell after about one thing that happened. But yeah, so there was like, it was not busy at all. We crossed at the Peace Bridge. And so
Pretty peaceful.
we just pulled up. We had all our papers ready. We talked to some friends that have like crossed before, and they said that it's just really important to like have all your papers together and ready, like as soon as you pull up, and to just answer the agent with like short and to the point answers, and not like overindulge in
Don't give them anything they don't ask for, really.
Yeah.
Do not annoy the border agents.
Yes.
So we had like a binder that we prepared with like everything that we needed to cross, like our gear manifest, merch manifest, contracts, our visas, itineraries, even our merch receipts and stuff like that. We had it all put in a binder, so that it was all like, in the front seat with us. And then we were just going to be pulling things out as they asked to see things. But when we pulled up, they just asked for our passports and
IDs. That's what he said.
gave that to him. He was pretty nice. He asked like what we were coming across for. We said we were in a band. He asked what the band name was, and then I think he like went on his computer and like searched up the band to like check the tour dates.
Was he a fan? Did he follow you on Spotify?
Well, okay, so then he said, what kind of music are you? He said rock, and he's like, what are your influences? We said, do you know Highly Suspect, which is like a really awesome band that we just announced that we're going to be opening for Highly Suspect. He was like, yeah, I know Highly Suspect, and then both of us had to like bite our tongues not to like tell him that we were going to open for them because we were so excited, but we didn't want to. Like,
I was like, wait.
yeah, we were like, it's probably not the time to like make a fan out of someone, but
Actually, follow us on Instagram, dude.
yeah. And so he took our passports, and then he said
He probably knows Highly Suspect from them like trying to come over.
Maybe.
yeah,
You cannot enter.
I was like, I need a pardon from the Queen or something. Yeah.
But yeah, so then he sent us over to park the van and go inside. He didn't like take a look at our visas or anything in our binder. It was just the passports.
Didn't look at the. Oh, okay, wait.
Yeah.
So
Oh, he asked about
first.
the visas. So yeah.
Okay, this is before you guys went inside.
Yeah. So we told him we had them, and then he kept our passports and then sent us over to the thing. We parked. We went inside and we waited for a bit. There was a stuffed bald eagle in a glass case, which it was just like staring at us.
It was
Like a taxidermied one, like a real one.
Yeah.
That's
and ironically, there was a poster underneath that said like "Protect our wildlife" or something. This thing's stuff. Anyways, there's like a weird crime show about smuggling drugs.
Yeah, just
on
all
the TV show,
the
like
most nerve-wracking shit.
Yeah, like a fictional show about a guy getting caught for smuggling drugs.
And we were like, we're fucked.
So your first impression of like crossing the border is like confusion and intimidation?
Yeah, it was like really weird.
Well,
there was
so
an eagle
far.
staring at us, and we're watching a show about like Pablo Escobar.
But then we got called up by a lady. We walked to a different area, and she She asked us what we were doing. We told her, and she basically really only took a look at the. She just looked at the visas and then also the itinerary, right?
Yeah, visas, itinerary, and that's when she started asking some questions. So like, told her about where we're staying, different places we're playing, and she scanned our fingerprints.
What?
All our hands, which was
Did all
sick.
four. She said all fours, and I said, "What do you mean?" She's like, "All four fingers." I'm like, "I still don't know what you mean." And then there was a big scanner thing right in front of my face.
They fingerprinted you?
Yeah.
So I guess that's weird. Eh?
And then I was like doing
That
my
is
thumb, and I
weird.
looked up, and she was just holding a little camera, and she took a couple
took a
pictures
photo.
of me there.
I almost smiled for my photo.
I watched that happen.
I went. Oh. Yeah.
So you got fingerprinted and mugshot.
Yeah,
Essentially,
pretty much.
yeah.
Like the most candid photos ever.
But,
Us all looking at our fingers.
But it was all very she was very easy and nice
Yeah,
to
she was
talk
really
to.
nice.
I left my thumb on, did my last thumb, because you do your four fingers, your thumb on your right hand, then your four fingers, and your thumb on your left hand. And I did my thumb, and she didn't tell me to take my thumb off, and she just started to do other things, and I had my thumb just sitting there for
For a minute now.
probably almost a minute. I was like, and she starts typing on the number pad. I was like, oh, can I take my thumb off? She's like, oh yes, hon, sorry. All right.
Yeah.
But then after, I think that was pretty much all she asked for. They didn't even really ask about our merch or anything, but
Yeah, she didn't even flick through the binder that we had. We just kind of handed her stuff out of it. We had to pay $6 each for our I think it's I-94 pass or something. Mm-hmm. And that gets us, it marks the day that you go in, and then there's a day that you need to come back by. Mm-hmm. And so that you have to pay for that pass for each person. So we got that. She stapled that into our passports, and they didn't search the van or the trailer or anything. It was just
smooth sailing.
yeah. And then we hopped in the van and left, and immediately felt like different people. It was all the stress of this tour had gone. It was just going to be fun from now on.
Yeah. So relatively smooth.
But we were just super over prepared, so it was a nice, simple crossing.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should we tell the story?
Sure, go right ahead.
So to rewind a bit, we were it was late at night, and we pulled up, and there was a bit of construction, so we had to wait, and we were behind this one car. It was just us in this car. We were just waiting to get signal to pull through behind a Toyota Camry, I believe it was. Maybe 2007 or something. I don't know. That doesn't matter. I know nothing about cars. Anyways, we got signaled to go through, so we're driving, and we pull up to the gate. I guess the gate part, the actual
At the border.
border, and there's two cars in front of us. The one car goes through. They're fine. The next car pulls through right in front of us,
Which is the Toyota Camry.
which is the Toyota Camry, 2007. Probably 6, actually, 2006. Doesn't matter. And we're sitting there. He pulls up. It's normal, they're talking.
We're anxious. We're getting.
We were
our
anxious.
photos together.
We were nervous.
And so we're kind of watching what's happening to them, in preparation for what's
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
happen to us.
And then, sorry, I lost my train of thought. And then another officer comes out with his flashlight. He's searching. And then he goes to the trunk. And you can see he's kind of signaling. He's saying, open the trunk. Open the trunk. And then the trunk pops open. And there was a girl in the trunk. And
and we were just staring. Neither of us understood what was going on at first. Like, we just saw the flashlight was illuminating the trunk, and as he opened it, it shone inside, and we saw like a girl with like her hands around her knees, just like sitting in a trunk, and it didn't make any sense at first.
I said, why would you do that?
Yeah, because I don't know, we just assumed it was like a joke or something. Like they were just pranking the guys. And then the officer like freaked out, obviously, wasn't expecting a person there.
Yeah.
Like went to grab his gun, and then I looked at Ian, and Ian's mouth was 5 inches open. Huge. And then
I can't believe that happened.
And then they pulled the girl out of the trunk, and she didn't say a word.
Yeah, she didn't like.
She didn't even look that scared. She was just like, "Oh, here I am." And then they were like radioing, and then like 50 other border agents come running out of the building to our right, just sprinting across, like men, women, just big guys, little guys.
Literally 50. There was 50 of them.
They all like swarm around the car, and they're just like staring at it. And then they pull out. We thought that there was like other people in the car, but it was just one driver and then this girl in the trunk. It's just this dude with a Mickey Mouse shirt on.
Yeah, it was creepy as hell.
And then they put them all in handcuffs and brought them inside. And then when we went inside to wait, and that bald eagle was looking at us, and we were watching the crime show, behind us in an interrogation room, there was the girl just like sitting there on a chair in like this glass room.
Oh.
And so,
it was pretty wild.
As prepared as we were, that like all my nerves went away and just transferred to that, because I was just confused as to what just happened.
And then we pulled up, and the guy's like, what did he say?
Yeah, we were like, oh my god, that's crazy. Like these guys are probably gonna. I was worried that they were gonna be like mad now. They'd be like, open your fucking trunk. Like, just Sanjay in there or something. But he pulled up and he went, what's the nature of your visit? Like, it was like nothing happened. And we didn't say it.
I wanted to say like, oh, that was crazy, right? But you just didn't. So
wow.
that was that.
Yeah.
What a sight. I wonder how many people can say that they've witnessed something
and we were
like
directly behind it too, like of all. Like it was I pointed out the construction part, because we were just waiting behind this car for like 10 minutes. Like we would have never fucking guessed that.
There was a girl sitting in the trunk waiting with us.
I wonder how she could breathe sitting in a trunk. Is that even a thing?
I don't know.
But yeah, so be prepared crossing the border, and don't smuggle anyone.
Don't go in the trunk.
Because occasionally they'll open the trunk, and then 50 guards will come as backup. Yeah.
Crazy. Well, that's some really good advice. Any other tips?
I don't know. I think going at night was pretty good.
Yeah.
It was like really smooth going through.
A little less stressful, because there's a lot less. Like the border, like from my experience, like you get there and there's no lanes. You just kind of have to choose. So like as far as being there, going at night's nice, because you're never going to be nearly as busy. And when you're there, just be smart,
Yeah, be knowledgeable about
if
papers.
If the border officer's being goofy, you can be a little goofy too, but he's being serious. Don't crack jokes, because they don't like jokes. They don't like jokes.
Yeah.
But yeah, just have everything you need. Be extra prepared. Like I think we lucked out for sure.
But like read over your stuff so you know where things are. So when they ask, you can like show them like, well, where are you staying? You can pull up that itinerary, point to where you're staying, like read your visas. Just kind of like know where things are, so it doesn't seem like you just like were handed these visas and then cross 2 minutes later.
Yeah, for sure. It's just being organized in general, having everything written down. Even if you know everything, if you had it all memorized, just having it all written down.
Absolutely.
It's easy. It just kind of shows that you're professional, know what you're doing. Cool. So last night was your first show of the tour in Washington, D.C. How was your first American show ever?
It was sick.
It was honestly incredible.
Yeah.
Like
we played at a place called Songbird, and it was really nice and like super hospitable.
Yeah, awesome venue. Great. Like we got there, like we had help like getting things sorted out when we got there. We were allowed to park in the back, which was sick as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice room. And people came.
Yeah, there was a handful of people
decent-
who just knew the words and like knew who we were. I was standing behind the merch booth at one point, and a guy went to take a photo of me secretly, but he accidentally had his flash on. So he just like illuminated me and then like tried to hide it. And then I was like, that's so funny. And then I leaned over to tell Sanjay about it. And as I was telling Sanjay about it, Sanjay saw him take another photo without the flash.
Two more.
Two. Yeah, and then after he came up to me and said, Luke, right? And I said, yeah. And he said, I'm sorry, I've had a couple too many Long Island iced teas. It's okay.
Long Island iced teas,
Yeah,
of all
funny.
things.
Super honest guy.
How does that feel? First one, people knowing your music in a city so far from home that you've never been to, in a different country for crying out loud. And two, having people taking photos of you.
It's completely surreal.
like
It's
not on
like one of
stage.
the most like special and like I guess that's the best word. It's one of the most special like connections, you know? Like
Yeah.
you can have complete strangers who like can relate to something Luke wrote down on a piece of paper or thought of when he was sitting in his basement, you know?
Yeah.
It's like the fact that something we've created, we've put our heart into, like resonates with other people.
It's so wild.
It's like that's one of the most beautiful things. That's like pretty much what we do it for, you know. It's like
yeah.
it's amazing.
Well, yeah, you do it for that, but you don't like expect it to happen.
You never
And then
like
suddenly we're in Washington and there's a dude saying like, yeah, you helped me get through my work day, and it's like that's fucking crazy, because I don't know, because I didn't think that would happen. I didn't think I was gonna help anyone get through their work day. But yeah, so it was like an incredible first show, and the other band was like so awesome, just like chatting with them about America and stuff, and yeah, we are feeling fucking awesome.
States are awesome. It's like a whole different thing down here.
Cool. So you guys have a few shows left. This is a pretty short tour, just dipping in for a few days.
Yeah.
Tonight, it's Saturday. It's Saturday, right? Don't know what day it is anymore.
is.
Saturday, as of the day of this recording. So you guys are playing in Philadelphia tonight.
Yeah, Philly.
Boston tomorrow, and I believe on the day that this interview will go live will be next Tuesday, which will be the day you guys are playing in New York City.
Right. Yeah. New York City.
Big places. Big names. It's all very exciting. I mostly am just stressed out about driving, but like we've been killing it so far, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like
Done some cool maneuvers.
we've done some cool maneuvers, and it's worth it. Like, yeah, we're very lucky people. We're just be able to rock out, and then people are like, "Hey, I like that." And we're like, "Okay, you know,
We're just having fun, but all right.
you want to sing along? Me too." That's it.
All right, guys. Thanks for your time and insight.
Thank you.
It's hilarious that I'm saying that because I'm here with you all week.
Yeah. I'm Ian, by the way. That's a joke. That's a joke. I don't know. Stupid.
It's great talking to you, Vanessa.
Vanessa. It's really great
It was
talking
nice to meet you
Yeah, really
guys.
nice to meet you.
Really good. Thanks for listening.
All right, Cleopatrick and crew signing off from Philly for the offstage. Cheers.
Bye.
All right, welcome back to Toronto, Canada. You guys have been traveling quite a bit in this episode. First of all, I want to thank Vanessa for taking the time during tour to kind of put together this interview. It was a little bit of a kind of just planning out of our brains, being like, how can we do this? And then we came up with this really cool idea. So that's awesome. I want to thank everyone for listening to this episode. If you're still sticking around, just a quick reminder, we put out episodes every 2 Tuesdays. So we kind of keep it bi-weekly. We'll be doing a part 2 of this episode next Tuesday. So don't fret for the shorter episode this time. It's all good. You got this. We'll be back next week, 2 weeks from now, to talk more about touring, ideas, what to do, what you shouldn't do, and what potentially can frustrate us to no end about touring bands and stuff like that. It's summer's coming up. A lot of bands are planning a lot of tours, so it's a perfect time to be talking about this kind of funny business. All right, just a last reminder that we're on every single social media at The Offstage. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter because no one uses Snapchat anymore. And we'll see you in 2 weeks on another episode of The Offstage podcast. Make sure to subscribe on your podcasting app. Goodbye.